Northwest. It's beautiful here today, and I hope it is where you are as well. We love Wellness Wednesday, and it's really a chance for us to take and set aside some time to interview some of our healthcare practitioners that are here with this wonderful company, LifeVantage. I'm always fascinated how many are drawn to this company. It's amazing to see. And there's so many different health topics that people, or health issues that people deal with. And it's just always fun to see how many different ways healthy diet, healthy lifestyle, activation, and so many things, so many tools that we have that can help us have our best health. So just before we get started, a little bit about my health journey, and really basing that around our topic tonight, of gut health and digestion and that gut-brain connection. So that is a very real topic to me. Actually, I'm 56 years old now, but when I was 19 years old, I ended up having a root canal that abscessed overnight. And I was so sick. The next morning I woke up and I had an infection that was not only fully in my head, but throughout my body. I was so sick. It took 16 rounds of antibiotics to get on top of that infection. And what we didn't know then was, we really didn't know back then. It feels like the olden days now. Can anybody relate to that? But they didn't really talk about microbiome and gut health. But all of the sudden, I ended up having food allergies and food sensitivities. Trying to just be healthy again seemed like an almost impossible thing. And it really felt like my health just stopped in its tracks. And it took decades of really trying to dive in, dig deeper, and try to understand what in the world I can do to help. Because there was nothing that medication, prescriptions, nothing was helping me. I knew I needed to dig deeper. And so it's been really a life journey of becoming my own health advocate. And that's what I would encourage you to do, is constantly dig in and continue educating yourself. Knowledge is powerful. And it really brought me to learning about activation and the power of it. But in that, it has drawn some amazing people around me. And today I am joined by two really dear friends of mine. And they're going to be really helping to not only share and educate about this topic, but also will also include a story that's very powerful, so that you guys can get some more ideas how this works. So I want to introduce my friend, and I don't want to miss all of the accolades for her, but she is a go-to even for me when it comes to just asking about even women's health issues and just digestion and health and nutrition. She is so well versed in this topic and helps countless people. But Cece McClintock is not only a dear friend of mine, but she is a functional nutrition therapy practitioner and functional medicine practitioner at a wellness clinic in Idaho. But she knows all about activation, and activation is really what drew her to this space. And I think that's a really powerful message to all of us, to know that's the caliber of people that are here, because really what we're talking about is getting to root cause. And so that's really what brings us here today. And we're going to be talking about digestion, oxidative stress, and inflammation, and really connecting the dots and how that helps us to have better health. So Cece McClintock, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. It's an honor. You're always one of the favorites to have on Wellness Wednesday. So I know you've prepared a slideshow with that. And I don't know if you want to just tell us a little bit more about your journey, maybe what brought us here before you start your presentation. But welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. I, like you as well, Marilee, I have quite an extensive health history, many years of not really taking care of my body and just taking care of everyone else and my job and all things. And it just came to like this point where something had to change. And so I started just to learn about the body. I started to eat better, do better. And I had a lot of digestive issues. That's really, I think, the adrenals and stress. And my gut is the main contributor to where I ended up with different health diagnoses. And that led me to go back to school, totally quit my job, switch careers, go back to school, learn about nutrition so I could take care of myself and my family. But then I saw that I enjoyed it so much and I had a passion for it. And so I now serve other people, primarily midlife women, because I am going through midlife right now. Hello, menopause. Can anybody relate? Holy cow. But yeah, so I think foundationally digestive health is so incredibly important outside of like your nervous system. Everything begins in the gut, and that's why I'm so excited to talk about it tonight. And activation goes right along with it, and so they just kind of mirror one another. So I'm really excited to speak about that too. Bear with my family. I have kids home from college and all kinds of things going on. So you might see people running back and forth. But what I would love to do is, yeah, let me try to share my screen right now. So bear with me on that as well. Anytime I practice this, it works great. But then when it's like real time, like ready to do it, it never works. So let's try this real quick. I'm actually going to get rid of the video. Let's see. Just so. Dun, 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 dun. You guys will have to tell me if you can see all of this. Marilee, if you could unmute for a second. Does it show my full screen?
It just went to a blank screen.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, I saw you went to present mode and then it went to a blank screen.
Oh, it's paused. Why is it paused? Dun, 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 dun. Why would it pause my screen sharing? Let's try this again, you guys.
Not to worry.
Share. I'll just do my desktop instead. And then let's try this. Hold on a second, everyone. Okay, does that work?
There you go.
Cool. Can you see my face or can you just see the slides?
Slides look great.
Okay, perfect. Just because if I put the video of me up there, it's going to cover half of the words.
You're good.
So, okay, so let's get started here. I'm really excited to talk about specifically it's digestion, inflammation, and oxidative stress. And I know you guys are all smart. You've been on so many of these Wellness Wednesdays and you've heard about all of these terms before, especially if you are on the products, the LifeVantage products, then you know very much about inflammation and oxidative stress. But what people don't realize is just how deeply they really influence one another. And this is really important because so many people are living with chronic symptoms like brain fog, joint pain, hormone imbalances, even chronic diseases. So it could be like type 2 diabetes or autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's. And these are the women and the men that come to me all the time. And so these are three key areas that I always dive a little deeper into and really talk to my clients about because they're incredibly impactful for our overall health. And they're all connected. So they don't live in individual buckets. They're all connected. And when one is disrupted, the other one is going to follow. So what I first want to do is just talk a little bit about digestion. And I try to make this so it's super easy to understand. Hippocrates had it right. All disease begins in the gut. And so many of us believe that. I totally believe it. I've experienced that for my own health. And I think it's important to first talk about like the functions of digestion. So many people don't realize how incredibly important our digestive system is. I think you are all very smart, and obviously you know that the main function of your digestive system is to break down your food so that you can fuel all the bodies in your cells, right? So number one, we have digestion of our food. We have to take the food and break it down into absorbable, usable forms. And it starts in the mouth, and then it continues in our stomach, and then it finishes in our small intestines. then we need to actually absorb those nutrients that we have broken down. And that happens in our intestines. So carbohydrates ultimately get turned into glucose, proteins ultimately get turned into amino acids, fats get turned into fatty acids. We also are absorbing key important vitamins and minerals. And all of these nutrients are essential for us to have energy, for our cells, for us to repair and heal the body, for hormone production, brain function, everything. And then the digestive system is incredibly important for your immune system. 70 to 80% of your immune cells reside in your gut. And you have this amazing gut lining. If you were to spread it out, it would be the length of a tennis court. I mean, it's massive. And it's kind of crazy to think that that is like stuffed inside our stomach area, right? But our gut lining acts as a protective barrier against pathogens and toxins. And then we have this entire microbiome that helps train and regulate our immune system. So this is another key function of digestion that a lot of people forget about. It helps us to detoxify. If you aren't detoxifying, you're going to get super sick. So we've got our liver that helps filter the toxins we're taking in. We've got the bile in our stool that helps to excrete it. We make hormones in our digestive system, huge for sex hormones. Think of estrogen. So we've got an estrobiome inside our microbiome that helps to regulate making estrogen and excreting excess estrogen. It's like a tongue tie there. It helps us to regulate insulin and cortisol. It's helping us to make neurotransmitters. So a lot of time people don't realize that gut-brain connection. You have to properly digest the proteins that you're eating to turn those into amino acids to then create neurotransmitters that make you feel happy. So you also have to have good gut function and have a good microbiome, because 90% of serotonin and 50% of dopamine is made in your gut. So a lot of times people will come to me and they're on, different medications, whether it's for anxiety or depression or ADHD. And I always ask them, I said, hey, how's your digestion? Let's start there. Or, hey, has your practitioner or doctor ever asked you about your gut health before putting you on a medication? Because it's not a deficiency in the medication that is making you feel the way you're feeling. You have to first look at the gut. It's important for maintaining fluid and electrolyte balance. So you are absorbing in your intestines not only water, but sodium, magnesium, potassium. These are really important to make sure you're actually hydrated at a cellular level to help support blood pressure, nerve signaling, and muscle function. So for any of you that are dealing with high blood pressure, check in with your gut. How is that functioning? Are you really, hydrating your cells and have good amounts of sodium and potassium? And then we have our microbiome. So our microbiome is going to help us to digest fibers, make short chain fatty acids, which is going to fuel the gut lining. Our gut actually helps us make nutrients like vitamin K, B12, and then again, it helps regulate mood, inflammation, and our immune system. So it's so incredibly important. It's not just about food, right? It's about fueling your body, protecting your health, helping to regulate your mood, regulate your immune system, and really help to keep inflammation in check. Okay, so inflammation, real quickly. Inflammation is like our body's fire alarm, or at least that's how I like to think about it. It's a natural defense mechanism within our body. We should be so happy that we have this amazing process called inflammation and this inflammation response we have. There's good and there is bad. So just think the good inflammation is that acute or short-term inflammation. You slice your finger open in the kitchen, right? Your finger, it bleeds, it swells, it gets inflamed, it hurts, but that is a healing process. So in short term, having inflammation and inflammatory response is really good, but it can become really damaging to the body and promote disease and loss of energy, hormone imbalances, brain fog, you name it, when it's chronic and silent. And this is essentially when your fire alarm just does not shut off. So some of the things that trigger inflammation, and one of the biggest things that triggers inflammation in the body, and it's this chronic low-grade systemic inflammation, is having a leaky gut. And I'm sure some of you have heard this term, but I want to talk about it a little bit more because it's just that important. So when you have leaky gut, the immune system sees any type of like bacteria or food as a threat, and it's going to create an immune response. And then that immune response is going to create pro-inflammatory molecules to be released. And then hello, inflammation sets in. So your gut lining is only one cell thick. So it's very, very delicate. And it has these little openings that allow digested food and nutrients to get through the gut lining, go into our blood system, in our bloodstream, I should say, and be shuttled to all of the cells in our bodies so that we can be healthy, our cells can function correctly and get what they need. So it's like this diagram. On the left-hand side, there are these tight little junctions. On the right-hand side, though, those junctions are wide open. So your gut lining, another way I like to talk about it is like the screen in a window inside your home. You want the little holes in the screen so that, like air can get through, you can live, you can be healthy, you can have oxygen. But when there's large holes like what I'm sharing on the slide, then the bugs, the bees, the birds get in and they wreak havoc in your home, right? And so that is what happens when you have leaky gut and you have a big hole like that screen. Anything and everything gets through, and your body doesn't know whether it's good or bad. It just kind of treats it all the same. And it creates this inflammatory response. So the more damaged, it allows toxins through, it allows microbes through, undigested food particles. And this is where we get things like food sensitivities, food intolerances. And ultimately, this triggers inflammation and an immune reaction. And this is going to lead to different inflammatory diseases. So hopefully that makes good sense to you. Some of those diseases, and I'll just go back really quick in case, because I didn't talk about this, but some of those diseases that are linked to leaky gut are things like diseases in the gut, so IBD, IBS, so I think like Crohn's, colitis, autoimmune diseases, so think rheumatoid arthritis, MS, Hashimoto's, even skin issues. You guys, go to the gut. Psoriasis, eczema, definitely go to your gut. Mental health, depression, anxiety, go to the gut. Do a check-in and see where you may need help. Leaky gut definitely can be a huge contributor to this. So what are some of the causes of leaky gut? What you eat, obviously, right? We eat every day. So what you eat. So it's the refined sugars, the gluten, the processed foods, the industrial seed oils. They're irritating and they can inflame your gut lining. Alcohol, I'm sorry to say, alcohol does as well. Artificial sweeteners, they just weaken the gut barrier. Obviously, if you have food sensitivities, there's already been some sort of damage and immune response, but those can still further lead to problems with leaky gut. It's stress. That was a big component for me back in the day. Stress increases cortisol. It's going to weaken the immune system. It's going to reduce gut protective secretions like the mucus and your stomach acid. It's going to slow down digestion. It's going to impair your repairing of your gut lining. Dysbiosis. This is a term that gets thrown around a lot. I see so many people in the clinic that have dysbiosis. That is just an imbalance of good bacteria to bad bacteria. So it's when we have an overgrowth potentially of things like candida, and they produce toxins that can irritate the gut lining. We may have a lack of fiber, and that's going to reduce the beneficial bacteria that really helps to make sure we have a good, healthy gut lining. And then it's the overuse of medications. So those, non-steroid inflammatory medications like ibuprofen, antibiotics, acid blockers, so think of like omeprazole, steroids. All of these types of medications can erode our gut lining. They can alter the microbiome and the bacteria, and they can reduce the protective stomach acid, which leads me into another cause of leaky gut is just not enough stomach acid. And I find this to be true for so many people. Without enough stomach acid, you're not digesting your food very well, and you don't have the protection against pathogens and toxins. So I think of stomach acid as kind of like the laundry detergent you're putting into your washer to wash your clothes. It's washing all the foods that you're consuming so that you don't get bacteria or toxins or even things like, food poisoning. And then another cause of leaky gut is environmental toxins. Now you can't get away from them, but you can reduce your exposure. So things like pesticides. So think of glyphosate, whether it's on our food, primarily on grains. Maybe it's sprayed in your yard. It could be heavy metals. It could be mold. These can all compromise the gut barrier. And then we have infections, gut infections. So H. pylori parasites. And then nutritional deficiencies. We need key nutrients in order to have a good, healthy gut. So think your omegas, omega 3s in particular, vitamin D, vitamin A, zinc, potassium, sodium. All of these are really, really important for us to have a good, healthy gut lining and to prevent leaky gut. Okay, so let's start to talk about like this vicious cycle. So it starts with digestion, the creation of leaky gut. But then we also have oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is this imbalance between the amount of free radicals we have in the body and antioxidants. So free radicals, they are just the normal byproducts of your metabolism. So think how your body is like creating food, or I should not say creating, but taking food and creating energy. That's our metabolism. It's how we're making mitochondria. In excess, free radicals are going to damage our cells. So a lot of people have this imbalance where they have way more free radicals than they do antioxidants. And this is going to lead to oxidative stress, which is like the rusting of your cells. So you can see the photo of the apple. I think many of you have seen this before. You slice open an apple, put it on your counter. That oxygen hits the apple and it starts to oxidize. And so just think of your cells doing the same things when you have too many free radicals in the body. This makes it really hard for nutrients to get inside your cells and for toxins to get out of your cells. So this ultimately is going to lead to different disease dynamics. Inflammation also creates free radicals. Our immune cells release free radicals to help kill pathogens. So we've got all these different processes in the body that we want to have happen that release free radicals, but then we have other things that just create free radicals in the body. So they're essentially the exact same things that I spoke about that create leaky gut. So it's the toxins in our food, it's the seed oils, it's the alcohol, all these things. Those also lead to a lot of free radicals in our body. So I just shared what increases it. So lack of nutrients, high toxin exposure, stress, and poor mitochondria. The consequences of oxidative stress, though, are there's quite a bit. So with oxidative stress, you run the risk of damaging your DNA, which could ultimately lead to cancer. You run the risk of mitochondrial dysfunction, which is going to lead to fatigue, a slow metabolism. You need your cells to have the energy that they need so that they can function correctly. It can lead to lipid damage and create atherosclerosis. It can lead to different effects on the brain, such as like Alzheimer's and brain fog. So oxidative stress is definitely something that you want to nip in the bud. I do a lot of testing at the clinic, a lot of functional root cause testing, and one of the things that we look at and test for is oxidative stress. So I'm able to test and see if there's oxidative stress or damage or the potential of it affecting the cells and affecting the DNA. And so ultimately, the people that are dealing with oxidative stress, when I look and see any nutritional deficiencies they have, it's almost always that they're really low in their antioxidants, and very specifically glutathione. Glutathione is like one of the really big ones. So we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But it's this vicious feedback loop, you guys. So it's like, poor gut health or damaged gut lining is going to lead to inflammation, which is going to lead to oxidative stress, which is going to lead to further gut damage. And so it's just this big old loop that keeps going around and around. So kind of a real life example of this is, let's say you have a high sugar diet. That's going to spike your blood sugar. It's going to increase free radicals in the body, and then it's going to promote inflammation. Or you might have chronic stress. Maybe it is you're stuck in a job that's just incredibly stressful. It's going to raise cortisol. That's going to change your gut flora. That's going to promote leaky gut. That's going to lead to inflammation. So there's all these just different dynamics, and it's just this vicious feedback loop. So let's talk about what the heck you can do to try to break that cycle, break that loop. And it comes down to a couple different areas, which if you guys want to take any screenshots of these, by all means, go for it. I know there'll be a recording. But first, I always have to start with like what you're eating. I always like to tell people you are what you eat, but I also like to tell my clients that every time you eat, you're making like you're casting a vote for your health. You're either choosing to feed health or you're choosing to feed disease. So what you eat is incredibly important. Where should you focus? Obviously on anti-inflammatory foods. So some of my favorites are berries, leafy greens, turmeric, ginger, olive oil, wild-caught salmon. Avoid the ultra processed foods. I think you guys are super smart. Avoid the ultra processed foods, the carbs, the sugars, and avoid seed oils. A quick note, one of the best things that you can do is just read labels. I think personally, one of the best steps you can take to lower inflammation and really support a healthy gut is to avoid any food in the grocery store that contains canola oil, soybean oil, or vegetable oils. And that's where reading labels is really important. These oils are super rancid to the body and they are toxic, and our body does not know them as like real food. And they're just going to store these toxins away in your fat cells, and it's just going to lead to inflammation, oxidative stress, and a poor metabolism. Digestion. Chew your food 20 to 30 times per bite. My mom used to say this to me all the time as a kid, and I think it was because, or at least I used to think it was because I was like trying to eat as quickly as I could and run back outside to play. But I don't know if she knew this at the time, but now I know, like, you have to chew your food because your stomach doesn't have teeth. And slowing down and chewing your food is going to put your body more in a parasympathetic state and allow your digestion to really be turned on and supported. Try to drink water between meals, not during meals. If you're drinking a lot of liquids during your mealtime, you're just going to impede on those digestive juices that are being released. Some people I find need a good digestive enzyme or some bitters. So if you need help in that area, there's a lot of great practitioners. There's a lot of great people within the LifeVantage community that can make recommendations for some good digestive enzymes. Include fermented foods like sauerkraut, yogurt, kimchi, kefir. Include fiber-rich foods like chia and flax seeds and berries. And I will tell you some of my favorite products from LifeVantage that help support digestion is number one, the mind-body system. I'm sure many of you are on the mind-body system. I don't think a lot of people think of it as like a go-to for supporting gut health. Obviously, we know it's incredibly beneficial for boosting our GLP-1 hormone, which is made in the gut. But I love it for the nutrients that are in this product, especially the MB Enhance. So there's prebiotics, there's probiotics, there's resistant starches, there's enzymes, all that feed and grow a healthy microbiome. And you guys, it has 13 grams of fiber in it when you do like a full dose. And fiber, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's one of the biggest nutritional deficiencies that we see. Only 5% of Americans actually get in enough fiber on a daily basis. If you don't know how much that you should have in on a daily basis, it is anywhere from 20 to 30 grams of fiber, depending on your age and your sex. But I think you should actually get in more than that. So the mind-body system is getting some people almost halfway there just through taking that product. And then the True Science Collagen, oh my gosh, I love this product. Obviously, we all want to look beautiful. We want collagen for the benefits of like wrinkles and stronger skin. But the power of collagen goes way beyond that. It's so important for helping to repair the cells in the gut, to help reduce inflammation, to make sure that you're healing your gut lining. So every time you're drinking that collagen, just think about all that it's doing for your gut health, which ultimately is going to reduce inflammation and help with oxidative stress. Okay, how do you reduce oxidative stress? You got to eat those antioxidant rich foods. So eat the rainbow, eat colorful fruits, colorful veggies. You want to reduce toxins, through the food you're eating, through alcohol, through the products you're putting on your skin, through the products that you're cleaning with. And then you should consider some good supplementation. So things like vitamin A, vitamin C, E, zinc, selenium, alpha lipoic acid, and then obviously the biggest one is glutathione. This is your body's master antioxidant, one of the most important molecules in your body. So hello, Protandim. Protandim is my go-to for reducing oxidative stress in the body because it's naturally boosting your body's own production of glutathione. Like, who doesn't want that? Also helps support SOD and catalase, which are other incredibly important nutrients and antioxidants. So my favorite is the Tri-Synergizer pack. I take it daily, and the reason is because not only is it boosting my body's own production of antioxidants, but it's helping me to create mitochondria. So it's giving my cells the energy that they need to actually function correctly. And it's supporting my NRF1 pathway as well. So it's like the perfect combination of nutrients to decrease oxidative stress in the body. And then we've got to lower inflammation. So some of the big strategies, at least what I do with my clients, is we look at like food sensitivities. You literally could just do an elimination diet. So some of the biggest triggers that I talk to my clients about are gluten and soy, and for some people, dairy as well. So those are the first three that I go to. Identifying food sensitivities is going to help at least calm that inflammatory response, but ultimately you have to heal the gut in order to get the biggest difference and change. Increase your omega-3s, wild salmon, flaxseed, chia seeds, walnuts, and then focus on gut healing nutrients like bone broth, foods that are rich in glutamine, aloe, zinc. Again, I love the Tri-Synergizer pack for really helping to lower inflammation. You guys, my mom, she just turned 78 yesterday. She has now been on the products. So NRF1, NRF2, and oh my gosh, I am like drawing a blank right now. I take these every single day. But anyway, the Tri-Synergizer, NAD, thank you. And so she's been on it for several months. After being on it for 2 months, she was like, hey, Cece, guess what? And I was like, what? And she's like, I haven't been able to wear several of my favorite rings that I used to wear when I was your age because my fingers were just too big. So her fingers got bigger. She does have arthritis on her hands, but she was so excited. She's like, look at my hands. Like, look at these rings. I can wear them again. I haven't worn them in years. And she was like, what do you think it is? And I was like, Mom, it's the inflammation like leaving your body. It's because you are totally boosting your NRF2, your NRF1 pathways. You're reducing oxidative stress, reducing inflammation. She's also lost weight. She just absolutely looks fabulous. She looks way younger than her age. And it's literally because this inflammation is leaving her body. So that's so exciting. And then lastly, lifestyle strategies. I love this picture. I mean, this guy looks happy, right? So he's looking like he's just been meditating, thinking about happy thoughts, lowering the stress. He's sleeping. He's got his weights with him. So sleep's really important. You want to try to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Remember, this is your body's time to rest and repair. And if you cannot sleep, find someone to help you. It is like some of the things you can do. If you try all the good sleep hygiene is that you can look and test cortisol, melatonin, blood sugar, even your sex hormones if you're going into menopause. Sleep is just so important. You want to manage stress. It's hard to get rid of stress, but if you can help the body deal with stress, so meditation, prayer, breathing, and then you got to move your body, my friends. Regular exercise is going to increase and improve gut health. We were created for movement, not to be sedentary. You've seen the studies, sitting is the new smoking. So we've got to get oxygen into our cells, and we really need to build muscle. Okay, so to quickly wrap this up, I always like to say that like small hinges swing big doors. So if you can start to implement some of these different lifestyle strategies or habits or do a check-in, go back and look and see, like, are you leading a life or doing things that could be causing leaky gut? Or do you feel like you are suffering from leaky gut based off of some of the things that I shared with you tonight? What can you do to lower inflammation and oxidative stress? So just to quickly wrap it up, because I've just been kind of rambling here, but the gut is not just a digestive organ. It is truly the front line of your immune system. It's a major player in inflammation and oxidative stress. So by healing the gut, we can calm inflammation, we can reduce oxidative stress, which is overall going to just improve our resilience to chronic illness and allow us to live a life of vitality, which is what I wish for all of you. So healing is super possible. You just have to connect the dots and get to the root causes. And hopefully I was able to shed a little bit of light on that for you tonight. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can see my face again, hopefully. There we go. Can you see me?
Yes, this is so great, Cece.
I know. I'm just like someone who like just kind of spews it out. And so hopefully you could follow along with me, go back and watch the recording. And I think you guys are all super smart. I'm sure some of what I shared you already know, but it's always such a great reminder.
That's so good. And I know we have a story to share as well. Do you want to introduce Heidi?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is the best part. This is like icing on the cake. So to take everything that I just shared with you and like put it into real life, I am so excited to introduce Heidi Inkney. She is like one of my favorite people on this planet. We have known each other, gosh, Heidi, it's been like almost 10 years. We became fast friends. We both went to nutritional therapy school together and just connected. And once I learned about activation, and really it was Protandim and what it does for oxidative stress, I was like, hey sister, like you have got to see this, like you have to watch this video. And she was just like, yeah, hello, like sign me up, let's do this. But she started her son on the product. Her whole family's on the product. She has an amazing story of just the impact that activation can truly, like how it can transform your health, with the story of her son Sam. So Heidi, take it away, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, first of all, you didn't ramble at all. It was all incredible information. So thank you. I know the chat was just going crazy. Like I learned so much from you. Thank you. Thank you. So fantastic. I definitely will be watching the replay, but it's interesting how like Cece she asked me to share about my son, Sam. She knows his story, but when you guys see everything that she just talked about play out, like word for word, step by step in my son, it's such validation for what these products do. So like Cece mentioned, she and I met a long time ago in nutritional therapy school. I ended up there because of our oldest son. He at the time was like early elementary school, maybe second or third grade. And just really, he had been struggling a lot with some things. He did have a diagnosis, but that's not anything that I need to go into. But he struggled with social skills. He struggled with concentration. He struggled with outbursts and mood. His coordination was just not good at all. He was small for his size. He always, his whole life from day one, struggled with his digestion. His elimination process, his bowel movements were never what I thought were normal. Now, he was my firstborn, so I didn't really know what that was like for babies, but as a mom, it just did not feel right to me. As he started struggling more with things, I kind of just naturally gravitated towards nutrition. What could, maybe there's something I can do with his food that would help him function better, that would help his body work better, his brain work better. And through that process of just trying to find the best things for him, I ended up at nutritional therapy school where, gosh, I can't even say how grateful I am that I met Cece because of the friendship that we have, but because she introduced us to these products. So she did have to kind of like send me a lot of messages saying, look at it, look at it, look at it. Here's some more information. And I think at one point she said something like, this will help Sam. And that got me because that, like, I'm a mom and I'm busy and I have a lot going on, but when you say something will benefit my children, I am going to look right away. And so, still with the nutritional changes that I did with Samuel, we saw some minimal improvements, but never anything like I felt was possible for him. So when I found LifeVantage, we started him immediately on the Protandim NRF2, which Cece talked about to reduce the oxidative stress, and also Axio, which she didn't mention. It's a brain product, but because of some of his issues, that's where we started. I actually have them here. I can show you. So the Protandim NRF2 and Axio, that's what we started him on. And at the time, he was already like early high school. I think he was a sophomore. Within a few weeks, his teachers were calling us and saying, "What are you doing?" He's concentrating in class. He's offering to come up to the board. He's remembering to do his homework. He's raising his hand and participating in discussions. We were seeing things at home. His handwriting was improving. He was communicating better. All of these things that seemingly were like brain started to change. But when you think about that gut-brain connection, it makes complete sense that not only there was inflammation for sure in his brain that was coming down, but his gut inflammation was coming down and allowing that communication between the two to happen more. So we saw a lot of mental improvements from that point. Fast forward, when collagen came out, he is on a few other products, but I'm just going to touch on the ones that I think really helped him so much with his gut health. Collagen came out, and I thought immediately, like, collagen is everywhere in our body. It is part of every single tissue, organ, structure that we have. Of course, it's part of the gut. It's like a major part of our gut lining. So I started him on the collagen. And you guys, to this point, still as a high schooler, he was probably only having a bowel movement maybe once, twice a week, which is not good. You don't want all of that toxins. Your body's trying to eliminate. So he's got all these toxins backed up in there. After about 2 months on the activated liquid collagen, this one right here, he was to a point where he was having a bowel movement at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. Okay, that's like, in our world after 18 years, that is drastic for him to have that kind of improvement, because the gut lining was sealing and healing, and that inflammation was going down. Those junctures that Cece showed you were closing, so things stopped getting out. And again, we saw next level improvement in his brain, in his communication, in his moods. So much started to improve. And I didn't really know if it could get any better. But then this mind-body system came out. And I think Cece said, like, that is the biggest support for gut health that she could recommend. And for Samuel, that has proven true. I, on a whim, started him on it. Yes, it increases your GLP-1. Yes, a lot of people look at it as like weight loss or weight management, but it is so much more than that for gut health in general. Just on a whim, started him on it just to see what would happen. And day one, you guys, he was in the bathroom 6 or 8 times. And it was not anything uncomfortable. It wasn't anything urgent. It was very normal, but his body was just letting it all go. And he's settled into this routine now. We're a very open family. He tells me things, but we're in this great space now for his body where he goes 2 or 3 times a day. So normal. His body is able to eliminate. He's digesting better. His interaction and his communication, his awareness of other people, and how he's asking questions of people now where he never used to do that before. He's mentally more flexible. He used to be very structured and strict with schedule, and if something was not what he expected and out of the routine, it was a disaster. So much more flexible with that now. So again, with that gut healing, his brain, the inflammation in his brain is coming down, and it's opening up that communication so that he's able to function and feel more himself in the world around him. And it's just been incredible seeing, as we layer products, what it's doing for reducing that oxidative stress, that inflammation that his body has struggled with for his whole life, and allowing it to eliminate properly is so massive. So anyway, I will never not have my children and my family on these products because of what they've done. So just kind of a quick glimpse of Samuel's story.
Oh my goodness. It's the stories, you guys. It's the proof. Heidi, thank you so much for sharing that. And it is honestly, you guys, I almost get choked up when I hear the stories, because what if this had not landed in some of our lives? It's just been, somebody wrote it in chat, what a blessing this has been. So I'm so happy for you, Heidi, Cece, amazing. And Cece, I just want to throw this back to you to wrap up with any final thoughts. What would you want to say to everybody as we kind of wrap this up? This has been so informational and so helpful tonight.
I just like Heidi said, like these products are like our essentials. I can't imagine ever being off of them. They're just like who I am, what I do, what my family takes. Like it's part of us. You are only as healthy as your cells, and that's a really hard thing to convey to people, and for people to like grasp it and think about that. But truly, you are only as healthy as your cells. You have been given this amazing body. You only get one shot at it. You have to take care of it. And if you can do it from a cellular level, you're going to be light years ahead of everyone else. And so if you have not yet gotten on these products, I encourage you to learn more about them, ask questions, tap into the person that has shared this with you. For those of you who are on these products and are having stories, share them, because it's the stories that like make people understand how, and I should say relate to what these products can do. And so it's totally different. And you've all heard this before. It's just so different than supplementation. This is literally activating health inside your body so that you can live the life that you were created for. So I think that's how I want to wrap it up.
I love this. Beautifully said. Oh my goodness. This has been so great tonight. Again, Cece, thank you. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Heidi, always a pleasure to hear your story and just share. Thank you so much, ladies. So much love going out to you, and to everyone who's joined us. Thank you for joining us. And I promise next week and every Wednesday, we'll have another episode of Wellness Wednesday. So thank you for dialing in. I hope this has helped you. If you have any questions, please get back to the person that invited you to listen to this, and join us here again next week. All right, everybody. God bless. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies.